Oh, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be bringing you a video showcasing the loot from 200 hard mode Sanctum of Rebirths, as well as kind of giving my overall opinion on the dungeon now that I've done a couple kills. So we're just going to put some random footage from the dungeon in the background while I talk, and then at the end of the video we will do the loot showcase. So hopefully you guys enjoy this type of video, and let me know if you guys got luckier than me, because you probably did. Okay, so to start this video off, I'm just going to be giving kind of my overall review of the Sanctum of Rebirth dungeon. I think this dungeon is incredibly well made from a bossing perspective. It's the bosses are really decent to fight. I think they're pretty fun to fight. They're challenging enough to be, you know, engaging, but they're not like super difficult where it's like impossible to fight these things. So yeah, I think overall, this is probably the best update we've gotten since Zamorak. I mean, maybe you could lump Necromancy in there, but yeah, Zamorak and Necromancy are the only other updates that compare to this dungeon in a 2-year time span, which is pretty sad to say, but that's kind of where we are right now. So some of the good things about this dungeon are, I think it looks really good. Like, all of the bosses look pretty cool. The final boss looks pretty cool, and the area itself looks really nice as well. Some of the things I like about the arenas are that they're like, the tiles where you can stand on are pretty well marked, especially at Nakatra, and I think this helps you out quite a bit with the mechanics to know exactly where you're supposed to be standing. So I think that's a really good thing about this dungeon. Another really good thing is I really like how it has the indicators for the explosion mechanics and the lines on the floor and stuff, and then the indicator that shows when the damage is going to happen. I think this is really good for a lot of learners and like pretty much everybody out there. I just think it's overall a really nice way to do area-based mechanics, and I hope we see more of this type of thing in the future, because I think, again, this is just a great way to do area-based mechanics. I would even like them to go back and add this to some existing bosses. Like, for example, if Karapak's lightning had like tile indicators on the ground that moved with the lightning, I think that would help out quite a bit in being able to tell exactly like where to stand for that lightning mechanic. But you know, that would just be kind of a wish at this point. Some of the other good things about the dungeon, I think overall the common loot is really good here. There are a few problems with the common loot that I'll bring up, mainly vital sparks, but overall I think the common loot is decent. You get about 500k to about a mil per chest, and there's 3 of them per run, so you get about, you know, 1.5 to 3 mil per dungeon run in commons, and that's a pretty decent. It's not comparable to Zamorak at all. Zamorak takes less time, and you make about 5 to 10 mil per kill there. So the common loot's not super great, but it's good enough to be, you know, rewarding, I guess, or at least pay for your costs. Like I said, the vital sparks, though, I think those should be increased in the number you get, because I think it's a pretty tedious task for most Iron Men out there to be getting their limitless sigil. So, you know, hopefully that gets changed, but I doubt it. But now let's get on to some of the things that I don't think are all that great about this dungeon, and that is going to be the rare drops. I think all of the rare drops besides the Shard of Genesis are really bad for a couple of reasons. So first off, the prayer scroll. I mean, do I really have to say anything about this? It's completely useless. It's like a troll drop. I wish this disassembled into a component or something. Like, it has literally no use cases. I just don't really see why it's in the game at all. And then the God Book, the Scripture of Amusket is pretty bad as well. I mean, if you look at all of the other scriptures, they all do something unique, but the Scripture of Amusket just basically copied the effect from the full book and made it even worse. So it's basically like just a bad full book. And I guess if their plan was to make a cheap scripture, this is it, but I just really wish the scripture did something unique and it was actually useful somewhere, because I don't really see the scripture being all that useful anywhere. It's just not very good. As for the tier 95 weapons, I think the weapons themselves are pretty good. They're powerful, but they're worth so little money that there's really, again, like I said, there's really not a chase item in this dungeon besides the Shard. So if you go dry on the Shard, you're really not going to make that much money here. I think the tier 95 weapons should be made more rare from normal mode, so that they increase in price and they incentivize people to go out and do hard modes. I think that's a really like a fair resolution to this. Like, they should still exist, I guess, in normal mode, or they could take it away, but normal mode won't have drops then, so it'd be pointless. But yeah, I think they should be made more rare in normal mode because I think tier 95 weapons should probably be more than 300 mil. These weapons are under 300 mil right now, and that's just way too cheap in my opinion for a tier 95 weapon. So yeah, I think something should be done about these items being so cheap because I really think it's not good for the longevity of this dungeon. I mean, like I said before, you're better just doing Zamorak, and at the end of the day, most people are going to be doing PVM content for GP, and if the GP here is bad because the chase items are bad, people just aren't really going to do the dungeon. So I think that's pretty unfortunate, and hopefully something is done to make the tier 95s a little bit more expensive, because like I said, under 300 mil for tier 95s is ridiculous. And then the final thing here that I'm gonna, I guess, complain about is the death times for the first and second boss are absurdly long. It takes like 7 seconds for each of these things to die after you get their HP to 0, and 15 seconds per dungeon run added on to banking times and all that other stuff really just adds a lot of excess time for no reason to this dungeon. So hopefully they change that, because that I found it like really annoying that these bosses take so long to die. It's just tedious at the end of the day. It's just really not great. But that's kind of my review of the dungeon. Overall, I think it's a really good piece of PVMing content. The drops probably could use some work still, but I think, like I said, this is probably the best update we've had since Zamorak. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Do you think I got it right? Do you have disagreements? I want to know what you guys think about this. And yeah, now we're going to get onto the loot. And now the moment you've all been waiting for, the loot video. But before we get into the chest back there, we are gonna get into the collection log. So you can see here we do have 200 hard mode Nakatra kills. My fastest kill time was 3:22. I used necromancy for all of these, and I averaged probably about a 3.5 minute kill time. So necromancy is definitely pretty good for this place. A lot easier than some of the other combat styles for sure. But this is my collection log. You can see I got 1 roar and 1 shard basically in 200 kills. I think I got pretty unlucky here. I've definitely seen people with logs that are way better than mine with less KC. So yeah, I think I got pretty unlucky here, but that's to be expected for me. But anyway, you can see this is the common loot. Some of the bigger drops we got in here are like 3,500 of each battle staff, which is, I guess, decent. 12,000 soul runes is pretty good. 28,000 cannonballs. This is a nice source of cannonballs. You also get a ton of water talismans, a ton of ghostly essence. I got 22,000 blood runes, which is a pretty decent amount of those as well. You can see we got 7,700 onyx bolt tips and 5,000 onyx dust, so a good source of those items as well. And then for the more rare drops, we got 52 manuscripts of Amsket. I really didn't get that many of these, to be honest with you. 50 of these in 200 runs is, I guess, not that many, but the book is useless, so it's not that big of a deal. We also got 36 vital sparks. Like I was saying, vital sparks should probably be increased. I think if this was like 100 to 200 instead of 36, that would be much better. Again, you get 1 to 10 of these things, and if you got like 5 to 25, I'd probably have around 100 of these, and that would really bump up the price of the common loot quite a bit. Vital sparks are like 500k each right now, so 600k each actually. So yeah, that would definitely be a good improvement for this dungeon if you ask me. We also got 40 moonstones, 22 of the rare relics, 3 mil cash, and then you got 2 Amsket sands here. And then you can see we do have some, you know, the codex here, or like whatever, and the book, but we do have the wand and the shard in here, which is where most of the value comes from. Unfortunately, the wand is still worth 600 mil in the GE when it's actually worth under 300 mil, which is pretty sad. And that's where most of the value comes from. The price check is 3.7 billion GP, but this is probably closer to like 3.3 billion GP. So yeah, hopefully this shows kind of what to expect from this dungeon and what happens basically if you go really dry. Because imagine if I didn't have the shard in here, this would be like 1.7 billion GP, which would be really bad. It'd be under that. It'd be like 1.5 billion GP. So yeah, overall, I think the I think this place is in a decent state. I think the drops definitely need improvements though. Like there should be changes made to these drops. So it's a little bit better to do, because in my opinion, you really shouldn't be doing this dungeon. You'd be better off doing other things to make money and then just buy your shard. And the other sources are guaranteed money, where the majority of your money is going to come from the shard here. And if you're like me and you go really dry, you basically lose money until you get the shard eventually. And yeah, it's kind of unfortunate to feel like, oh, I'd be better just doing Zamorak or anything really. And like Raziel would probably be better money than this. Raksha, better money than this. So yeah, that is the loot. What do you guys think? Did you guys get lucky? Did you guys get unlucky? Let me know in the comment section. And if you guys made it this far in the video, definitely drop a like on it. It does help promote the channel quite a bit. And as always, guys, I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.